Welcome to the Stronger Together podcast brought to you by Sandpoint Strength and Conditioning. I'm your coach, Kenny Marquardt. Today, joined by Mike Peak and Aaron Varenwald. We are going to talk about all things Hyrox, or at least some things Hyrox. If you have a social media account or, I don't know, have been online in the last 6 months, you have to have heard about this thing. It's a new fitness event, relatively new. I think it's been around for a couple of years, but it's just starting to really explode, take off, and we talk about what it is, why you should care, and what that means for us in the gym. Enjoy the podcast. The hybrid rock stars are here.
Is that what you're really naming it?
I'm going to definitely call it that.
Please don't.
That's my favorite part about this whole thing.
If I would have known that was the actual name for Hyrox, I probably wouldn't have done it.
I don't blame you. I think that's fair.
That's probably why they don't call it that.
I think that's what they do. I think that's, I mean, come on. It was.
But I think that's probably why they shortened it.
Yeah, because America got a hold of it and fixed it, and they said, "Hey, look, guys, like we hear this cute thing you started in Germany. We're gonna take the reins." And
good marketing ploy.
Yeah. So that's what we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about Hyrox because I think most people don't really up here in the old far back in time North Idaho. It's this is a pretty new thing, even though it's exploding everywhere else in the country. You two are the space monkeys that have been. Aaron, actually, you're probably the biggest space monkey of this in the room. And then Mike got tagged along to do this recently.
Mike did sign up for it. He started. He willingly entered.
He antagonized.
That's true. That's.
Wait, what do you mean? You had to have antagonized him to do this, though. He didn't just on a whim sign up for that.
No, I actually found it.
Really?
I actually found the local one. Yeah.
Were you Googling hybrid rockstar?
No. Well, I figured there would be something somewhat local, so I found it. This local one in Liberty Lake, and yeah, we decided to go ahead and do it. So
that's awesome. All right, nice.
Yeah.
Why'd you seek it out? Like, what was the?
Because Aaron was doing the training, and we were talking about doing some of that together, and then I kind of felt like it would be something to shoot for because I normally wouldn't train for something like that unless I had something I was kind of shooting to trying to accomplish,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about what it is, but it brings, for me, I was a little bit skeptical, cynical about it, but I think it brings context to a certain aspect of fitness where like nobody's going to go run 13.1 miles for no reason. But if you call it a half marathon and like make it a thing, then that's the thing. And that's makes it more interesting. So it's Hyrox, same thing in terms of like functional fitness. There's something defined now that you get to pursue.
Yeah, for sure. For me, it was more so like I like to lift weights. I like shorter workouts, and obviously Hyrox isn't either of those things. And for me, wanting to get better at cardio and endurance, like I knew just mentally that was kind of the only way for me to do that. Because I tried to do it last year and I just kind of fizzled out with running and stuff. And so this was kind of a way to be like, okay, I just kind of got to stay on the path and hopefully there's some improvement there and I can accomplish it. But yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm I'm coming around and becoming a pretty big fan of the idea because strength work that's one side of the thing. Like getting stronger is great, but I think you can't really forego the conditioning side of things. And you got to be able to like do functional stuff with your conditioning. And I think that what Hyrox represents is it's definitely on the conditioning heavy side of things, but there are some functional and strength endurance aspects of it that are good. So
it's kind of cool where like this fitness is going. I feel like CrossFit kind of started it by saying, let's get high endurance and strength. And then now Hyrox has kind of like pushed that to the next level. Like everybody's like, they want to get super strong is like, don't get on a treadmill. You're going to lose all your gains, right? Now it's like we're pushing how far we can run and have endurance and be strong at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that's missing. If they had like a 1 rep max deadlift at the end and that like really affected your score, I would find this to be a much more interesting, well-rounded part of fitness. Yeah. And I'm not, again, that's just my observation. Like I think, again, it's great. If this is the context that somebody finds interesting for fitness, I'm not going to stop them. But if we're talking well-rounded fitness, there's no absolute strength that required. In fact, it probably punishes you for absolute strength.
Totally. And I think you're right. I think so many people focus on strength for the training, and then they get into it, and they're like, this is a running race.
Whoops. Yes. All right, so before we go further, because I bet anybody, all 13 of our listeners, probably more like 100, they probably have no idea what Hyrox actually is. Can you What's the event? What's the actual event?
I'll let Aaron take that. He's a Hyrox pro.
This is like the most complicated thing when you're starting the conversation, but in simple terms, it's 1K run and then a workout. They do that 8 times. So you're going to do a 1K run, you're going to do a ski erg for 1,000 meters, 1K run, sled push, run, sled pull, run, burpee broad jump, run, row, run, carry, run, lunges, run, wall ball.
Nice. That was a good, you passed.
100 wall balls at the end.
Yes. So if you think about, that's the event. It is a lot of running, but there is a push, pull, carry. There's the modalities of fitness, like the movement patterns of fitness. Like that's great. I'm in. I support it. So that's the event itself. And how long does it take you to? What did you guys do your partner thing in? Like an hour 16?
Hour 11, yeah. We were kind of thinking with my lack of running capability, it would be more like, I don't know, an hour 15, hour 18. So as far as like what we were shooting for, I think, we beat our time.
Yeah.
But definitely the Hyrox, I think, and Aaron can speak to this because he did it by himself, which is probably a long slog. But when you're doing it with a partner, the strength movements really go really fast. So it seems like, gosh, I thought I was just running. So it seems like it does seem like, I don't know which is worse, but it does seem like a lot of running because you and your partner are really, I feel like we got through the stations like pretty efficient. So it definitely is, concentrated heavy on the running side.
It is a lot of running, period. An 8K.
You get to break up all the movements, but you don't get to break up the runs. You still run together that full 1K, and then you get to the exercises, and you get to split that in half.
Does it have to be in half, or can it be partitioned anyway?
However you want.
Got it. And the event doesn't change. Like that's, I think, what's the more interesting part about it. CrossFit, I think, really dropped the ball, and we could talk. I could go on for hours about how CrossFit screwed up. One of the things was like it was very undefined, and that was part of the definition was that we don't know. You should be ready for anything. And I think that in its expression for people, it made it a really difficult moving target to try and hit. And yeah, that's what they were after. But for most people, it just became, okay, we're going to do the open. That's the grandest event in the land for most people to participate in. And it was just so wildly different every week. And there's only 3 events. So you could prepare all year for one thing and then you don't even get to do it. So for this, you have context and very specific things that you're preparing for. That I think this thing will be, I was really skeptical at first. I'm giving this thing at least 5. I think it'll be more like maybe longer than that, 5 years because of that, because people will continue to prepare for it in ways that they'll find rewarding.
Yeah. And
5 years?
The Hyrox itself, where again, skeptically, I've seen a lot of stuff come through the fitness pipeline in my 15-year career. I don't know that this is going to be forever. Like, I don't know, Hyrox is going to continue. It's exploded. I mean, it went there's like, I think 500,000 defined participants now already. And I think it's just coming on the scene. I think that trajectory is going to continue. I don't know how long people can do the same event until they're like, all right, that's enough. I've done enough of this 100 wall balls. Screw this.
It's also hard to say, like, somebody might come in at, a fitness pro or a fitness guru or somebody that's, really well respected in the space and be like, well, I think there needs to be this in it, or I think there needs to be a barbell, which I would have liked, but, or something. And then it changes. So yeah, you're right. It is hard to say how long it's going to be the thing,
Yeah. But CrossFit was on for 15 years. No, a little longer than that. It's been very popular since like 2010. So we're at year 16. It's definitely declined in recent years. But that's a long stretch. And I think the avenues for people to participate in different fitness things is like, there's still an appetite for that. Again, I think it'll be here for a minute.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of also good things about the Hyrox, though. If you look at it from like a business standpoint, like you show up to these events and they are huge. I mean, the one I did in Arizona was at the Cardinal Stadium. There was 15,000 people, and that was a small event. I think New York's hitting 25,000, 30,000 people without spectators, and they're selling swag on top of that. And what they're doing is they're releasing 20 to 30 people at a time every 20 minutes. Their start time's at 9 p.m. and later, so they're starting 9 a.m. or earlier, and they're releasing 20 to. They might have like a cleanup, thing in the middle or something. But even if you look at an Ironman, who knows? Those are like 2,000 people they're releasing at one time, and that's it. You know, there's not multiple days. Like Hyrox is crushing it over a week. They're releasing 20 people every 20 minutes. It's insane.
And they've been phenomenally professional. Whoever's behind the scenes or behind the whatever operations there, they seem to know their shit. Again, CrossFit has continued to fucking blow it over and over and over and over. They just hired a new CEO yesterday, I think, for the fourth time in 6 years or something. Anyways, wow. It's not. Anyways, the Hyrox stuff has been very professionally done, and like, so we are now an affiliate of Hyrox because the value's there, and it's very. I could go on and on about how that's different than the CrossFit thing, but like, there's a ton of value that they provide for like education. They do program design. They do tickets we get early pre-sale tickets for people doing events. We get whatever. It's night and day from the CrossFit affiliation thing. And so, yeah, like you said, they're doing a lot of volume. They're making this popular, and they're trying to make it accessible, which is another like aspect of it that I really appreciate and enjoy. Is that CrossFit was kind of exclusive, where it's like, hey, I don't know, you probably can't even cross the starting line because it's so heavy. Get out of here.
Well, you got to be around for the CrossFit like when it was popular. You know, I was one of those guys that thought it was kind of a weird cult when it was popular, and then I just got to see the downfall of it, because like when I started at your gym 2021, you know, and then 2020, you know, the last 3 years, you know, I was kind of watching the Open, and you know, it was pretty cool, but you could see it dying off just in the last, I don't know, 2 years, just in popularity. And yeah, and you know, or that was maybe me not wanting to walk on my hands. I don't know.
I mean, I think there's a place for it. I think it's just there was a lot of CrossFit really kept saying like, hey, this is for everybody, and then kept doing the exact opposite in their what they would issue to the world. And it was just kind of, they're speaking out of both sides of their mouth, and it was a little bit like, hey guys, like, what are we doing? Like, you're telling everybody to do the Open, and then again, you sign up the first event, like the first thing in the first event is something that 90% of people can't do. Like, this isn't very inclusive, and you're turning a lot of people off. And I think the other thing you brought up, triathlons or Ironmans, and that actually is, I think, where this has a lot of staying power. Is I think this could be the alternative to a triathlon, or you know, those midlife crisis event type things where middle-aged people were like, hey, I'm going to go do this because that's going to say I'm fit. I'm going to go do this Ironman. I'm going to do a triathlon. I'm going to do a whatever. I think a Hyrox fits in that same avenue, where this is demonstration of fitness, but I think it's more well-rounded than those other events, and I think this is better. If someone's gonna like, hey, I'm gonna do something, I would say, yeah, Hyrox is a great way to show yourself that you're fit.
And I agree with that, except for the middle age. It is definitely like, you get there and it is like college, and I'm not just, there's definitely all age groups, but it is a young sport. You know, they have Red Bull there, they have the young athletes, the music. You know, you get there and like, my age or younger. Yeah, not that there isn't older people, but it is a young sport.
Interesting.
There's something about it that's just, maybe it's all these sports, whether it's CrossFit or an Ironman, or, I mean, how far is it going to go with these ultra marathons? And it's just that like survival feeling that you get across the finish line. It's not as much about like the race per se, because I think I wanted to do it and just say I accomplished it and be done with it. But then your brain just wraps around, I could have done this better, or I know I could do this better, you know, like, or I didn't get it. You're never going to get the time you wanted, right? Like, you're gonna go in there, I'm going to go sub 1 hour, and you're 30 minutes in, and you're like, this isn't going to happen. So there's something about it, just like, yeah, maybe I'll do 5 of them, and in 5 years, you're right. You're like, on to the next thing. Yeah, why we keep signing up for it blows my mind.
How does it feel to cross the finish line?
For me or for Aaron?
Either one. I mean, like, yeah.
Well, Aaron's obviously the one, he did the Hyrox, you know, in Arizona, that was, you know, Hyrox brand. I'm sure it was a totally different scenario, you know, the one we did in Spokane. For me to cross the finish line felt amazing, especially after all those wall balls we did. And yeah. But it felt more like a mental accomplishment, I guess, than a physical accomplishment. Because, you know, I knew I could do it. It was just, okay, am I going to want to walk any of this run? Am I going to want to like give in? And, you know, some of the stations I did, but I pushed through, and it felt awesome. And maybe I will do it again. I thought it was the last week of training, last 2 weeks, both me and Aaron. We were mentally not in a good spot because we were just like, can we just go lift weights or go to a class, be with people? We love each other, but we were like, I feel like we were both kind of like the monotony, but there's something to be said with sticking to that and pushing through. I think when you don't, it's something that you don't really want to do, and to be able to accomplish that felt awesome.
Yeah, I think like at our gym, I mean, half the reason I go to the gym so much is just because of the people in the community. So when you have a separate goal, you're kind of detached from the clan, right? You've got to keep your head down, and like it'd be so easy to go do class and have your coach push you through something, but you've got to stay mentally tough. You're 6 weeks in out of 8, and you're just like, we just got to finish this. Dude, I don't know, like I feel like the actual race itself, there's just, it's so go, go, go. There's no rest. There, like you go to the sled and you push. You go to the wall balls and you pick up the ball. So like the finish line is just kind of like a daze. You're just like, where am I? I don't know. It's, yeah. I feel like it's hard to explain. You're wrapped so much around what your plan is. And if you don't have that plan to stick to and just like, it's not second nature, then you're probably going to fall off.
Yeah. But so, I mean, what Mike said, I've only done one half marathon. I've done a couple other fitness events, quite a few actually, other fitness. But like when you cross the finish line and you have a crowd or you have like this culmination of the training, which is a long time. It's not just the event. It's like this 8-week training cycle. And then the event itself, it's like this culmination that for me was actually a lot more emotional, Mike, like you said, that I think it lures you into the next one because you kind of chase that feeling a little bit more.
Yeah.
And again, that's where I think there's some staying power in these fitness events where you're like, oh shit, okay. I want to feel like that again.
Yeah, I haven't really done many fitness events per se, like, some runs and stuff when I was younger, event wise, just like as far as racing, like, snowmobile racing and, back to, competitive stuff would be like, baseball when I was a kid. But when I got done with it, it was cool. Dana was there and my son Grady was there and Aaron's wife was there. And so it felt like accomplishment. Then, we were just hanging out, and then I got in the car and was like, oh. And kind of did get a little emotional actually. Like I actually just finished that thing. And like,
yeah.
So yeah, 100%. I did feel that emotion where I was like, gosh, I just accomplished that. It felt awesome. So,
yeah, we trained for every aspect of it except for the action. We never actually did that full event as partners, and so we knew exactly what to do and where and what pace to run, speed, push, whatever. So we knew what to do. We just hadn't done the whole thing. We didn't know exactly what to expect for an hour and 6 minutes or 11 minutes, So it's cool. I think all in all, it went like as planned.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys did better than you thought, so that's even better.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things that are like, no matter how like you train, like there's some things that are different, right? I'm sure, I don't know if Aaron can speak to this, but like, the rope felt totally different. Like we're dragging outside on a asphalt parking lot on the sled. So that felt a little different. Just to like the controlled environment in the gym where we're always pushing and pulling the sled. And so I think anywhere you were to do this event, you're going to have that. But overall, the standard is the standard in Hyrox, right? I think so.
Yeah. For their events, yeah.
Yeah.
The hardest part, like at the other, like the one in Arizona, I did a partner and a solo, but they put you in this tunnel and they have somebody that like hypes you up and the smoke's going and there's the Red Bull tunnel and there's a countdown. And just so you know, nobody's wearing a shirt. So everybody's all around you. Everybody's huge and you're just like, what am I doing here? I did sign up for like the pro event, so I'm sure like, again, I don't want it to be like, this is what you have to be to do a Hyrox. So there's mixed doubles, there's doubles, there's,
Are you just talking about everybody having their shirt off, or because pretty sure you had your shirt off?
Yeah.
That's why you signed up. Hold on.
The hardest part is just sticking to what you're supposed to do, and if you do that, then it comes out right, and you kind of, that's when you finish the finish line. You're like, I just trusted what I knew, and it all worked out. And I'm sure that's the hardest part is everybody says you get into this skier, and you can look at this graph once you finish and see how well you. And I probably got dead last, and not dead last, but pretty far back on the skier. But everybody gets in there and their adrenaline's rushing and they're just ripping on those ropes after a overly paced run. And then by the time they get to the sled push, they're getting lactic acid buildup. And after that, they're just done because you saw, like, it's 100 meters of lunges and then 100 wall balls at the end. If you go so hard at the beginning and you're just all hyped up, everything's a trap. It's all a trap.
Yeah. But again, that's a great, like, that is what's there is a lot of intricacies to that you can plan physiologically for all those things, and you can, but then you gotta execute the plan, or it's all that went out the window. So, yeah. And again, I think that's a pretty interesting part of it. So
yeah, and I feel like you can work on, you have your strengths, right? So like for me, the sled push was probably my favorite, like, because, you know, it's part of, you know, I'm a little stronger, but cardio wise, burpees were horrendous because that was the only one where after the burpee we go into the run, and I was like, dude, not feeling good. So you definitely, you know, based on your strengths as an athlete, you can pick and choose what you really need to focus on and work.
Yeah, I think there's another, again, the appeal of I'm really good at CrossFit. Well, not really good. I'm decent at CrossFit because I'm pretty high skilled. Like, I've got a lot of skill. Wow, I used to be really good at CrossFit because I'm really high in skill.
Oh, come on, give yourself some credit.
Yeah, okay. But the point is that I'm definitely, if you're trying to find the fittest in the room, I was not always the fittest in the room. I was just the smartest. And that's not to be pedantic. I just mean I know how to pace really well, and I know how I'm very good at the movements, even if I don't have the highest VO2 max, and I'm not necessarily the strongest, which I understand, like, that's part of the game. But what's neat about Hyrox, not to keep pumping its tires, but like, there's not a ton of skill in a lot of those things. Yeah, there can be, but it's pretty raw. And I think that's cool.
Yeah.
No? I mean, you said yeah.
But I was waiting for Aaron to talk about that.
Come on, Aaron. Pipe up about that.
Raw.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot of gaming in that. Yes, there's technique on the skier. Yes, there's technique on the rower. Running's got some skill to it. Yeah. There's some things to do, but there's not a matter of, like, I don't know, a range. Like, if you throw a heavy squat snatch in a CrossFit workout, I will blow the doors off most people because I have a phenomenal range of motion and I'm really good at that movement. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm fitter than somebody else. It just means I'm really good at that particular movement. And that's what I think, again, the Hyrox thing is it's just what I look at, like, when I talk about VO2 max or like an actual measurement of fitness. You have to do that on a bike, a rower, or something or a treadmill. Because again, very raw. There's no skill like, you don't want to have skill watered down or get in the way of the actual measurement of what you're trying to test. The CrossFit stuff, there's a lot of that does get in the way of understanding who is actually the fittest here.
Yeah, I think there's only one strength to Hyrox, and it's pretty much running.
Yeah, which is the worst part for me, quite honestly.
Same.
It takes your strong sled push away. It takes your
right.
Wall balls away. It takes your farm stick. It just takes everything. It ruins everything if you can't run. Like,
I mean, if we were able to do, okay, Mike, you're going to do all the strength, Aaron, you're going to do all the cardio type stations.
There we go.
We'll probably crush it, right?
I'm in. Sign me up for that.
Yeah, sign me up. Yeah.
Except for the burpees. If I want to trade those out too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, front squat or do something else.
Yeah, 1RM deadlift to finish.
Yeah.
I'm promoting that idea.
Yeah. How
far do you think this thing can go? And I think I don't know. I've talked about a lot about it. Do you think this will get in the Olympics? That's the highest I think I could see it going.
Man, is CrossFit in the Olympics?
No, because again, what's CrossFit?
It's totally changing. I gotcha. I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs. Like, I know there's like snowmobiling will never be in because it's a motorized sport, right? So, but sure, why not?
All right. Well,
Well, I mean, you got weightlifting in the Olympics, right? So you have facets of the fitness industry that are in Olympics, but I don't know. You can see with Hyrox, like, obviously taking the place of like the Spartan races and the Tough Mudders and the things like that. I mean, I don't think it's going to make it to that level of fitness competition, but you never know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Again, I first started hearing about it like 2 years ago, and I kind of was like, dude, I've been around long enough to not care about the next thing. Like, I just, whatever.
The next best thing.
There's another thing coming around the corner, like, whatever.
Yeah.
We're still lifting weights and running.
Is CrossFit failing because of the movements or because of the leadership?
I think because of the leadership.
I mean, Hyrox keeps a good leadership. I'll just say, like, again, I wanted to do one and I was done. And I think the training can be monotonous and boring, but it's like once you do an event, you're like, your brain just starts spinning. It's like, I hear about it with triathlons that people get back to work on Monday and they feel empty, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And they're just spinning, how can I get to the next one? And when there's one every weekend, I don't know, man.
Do you follow the like high level? Like, do you follow the pros? Does anybody make money doing this? Is this a real thing for them?
I'm sure like Hunter McIntyre does, and I'm sure there's definitely pros. But I don't know how
Are they
if they're killing it.
how much are they improving, or are they like? That was one thing I watched with CrossFit. Where I was like, holy shit! Somebody did a 156 Fran or something. I remember that was that like reverberated through the industry. I was like, holy shit! Okay, that's crazy. Is that like happening at this level where they're like, okay, they're shaving off minutes, and all of a sudden somebody else comes in and they're like smashing this like a new PR? Or is it? Can you?
I think so. I mean, I don't know about smashing, but it's like their 1K times are dropping for the runs, and like the 1 hour time frame was just totally crazy to be broken, which solo is awesome. And now I think they're down to 58 or 57 minutes. When you start breaking up 16, 8 runs and 8 workouts, and you're like, okay, if I could shave 10 seconds here, 10 seconds there, like 3 minutes becomes a lot, But yeah, maybe they'll max out and who knows? But I mean, they're still breaking 100 meter sprint times, right? Every athletic sport is still getting new PRs.
Well, I wonder what happens, like, if you take, what's an Olympic running event? Is it a 10K? Does anybody know? You guys?
Well, there's, funny you were talking about that. The marathon I just saw where somebody broke broke 2 hours. So you're talking a 4:30 pace.
Yeah.
2 guys did it.
That's wild.
And so, the progression in all sport is just nuts.
Well, right. So that's what I'm curious about is like, okay, say you take that guy who runs a sub 2 hour marathon and you throw him in a Hyrox event raw, and you're like, look, good luck, pal. Yeah. And he runs a 3. How fast is he running his 1Ks then? Anybody?
Aaron, sub 3 minutes?
Closer to 3 minutes, yeah.
3 minute 1Ks times 8. So 24 minutes worth of running. And then he's got another 20, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, where's the threshold of like, okay, you're just a fucking tremendous runner, but you don't have any skills over here. Where does that start to slow you down?
Well, if you can't push a sled that's 450 pounds, you're not going to get very far. You gotta get through that station.
Right.
So there is some strength there.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's where.
Yeah.
Like even MMA was like a good expression where in the beginning it was like, okay, let's have this guy fight this guy and see who wins, and see which art's better. So how long till we get to like badass runner who starts to dabble in these other things, or I don't know. I do think
I could see like those CrossFit athletes, if it's too dysfunctional, kind of coming over to Hyrox maybe just to see what they can do, maybe to prove it to themselves or to the, I don't know, I guess fitness world that they're top of the food chain.
I think Tia Claire Toomey, I think there's a couple that are starting to do that. I don't know how well they're doing. I think it's different energy systems for them, but I don't know. I mean, again, it's just another thing, which is ironic. You see, so the CrossFit, diehard CrossFit people are starting to, they bash on the Hyrox, and I know we started that bash on the Hyrox thing, but it is like there's these warring factions of like, my way's better, this way's better.
Well, I think when we started this, I would always send Aaron funny Instagram reels of like, as the guy got better at Hyrox, his shorts got shorter and shorter. And then he was wearing the nose strips, and I didn't wear any nose strips, and I don't think I had too short of shorts, but in the end I ended up doing it. But regardless, they all have their stereotypes.
Yes.
Shirt on.
Really? That's half the fun of fitness racing. Shirt off. You're faster. Everybody knows you're faster. You're slipperier without a shirt on.
Yeah.
I was just disappointed to know you guys weren't carrying the kettlebells at the same time and ski erging with the same 2 hands and 1 handle.
That would have made it easier.
All right. Well, what do you got for people? Should people sign up for these things? Like, should they be interested in it? I know I've been kind of saying yes, they should, but what's your?
Personally, I don't know. I'm more partial to something like this than a half marathon or a crazy ultra marathon. I mean, my brother, he does those things and he's running like a gazelle, and Aaron's running like a gazelle out there. But This is more of a something anybody can accomplish. It also is scaled too. Like we did the pro, so it just means all the movements are the same, but you're less weight. But the open divisions, everything's a little lighter, and it's nothing that's some crazy thing you have to train months for. You can accomplish it.
Sorry, Aaron, I want to hear what you have to say about that. But what you just said about, I think that's one of the things that's hard. I hate running. Period. I think it encourages cowardice. But I think that it takes so long to train for these things. Like to go run a marathon, which is a 4.5, 5 hour event for someone like me. Like I gotta give up half my life to train for 90 minutes, 2 hours a day. And I'm a pretty devoted hour a day in the gym kind of person. And you can go a long way for an event like this in an hour in the gym. So I do think that's another appeal. Sorry. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, big deterrent from like an Ironman is $10,000. I think it comes down to a lot of just like the community aspect. It's like you love training with people, and especially once you get to those events, if that's your kind of thing. I like the competition style, and just like, again, knowing what my plan is going into something. And then I'm sure that like, the training program we're on was like very straightforward. I know that like level method can be more fun. It's like 12 rounds of this, we'll switch to this, and like it makes it a little more fun. So once things get a hold, it makes it so it can be more attainable for a longer period of time. And then ultimately, I think the fitness style is very functional and just like a lifestyle. Like dumbbell snatches always kind of just get my hamstrings and my back. I'm kind of tore up. I mean, the running beat me up for Hyrox too, but
Yeah.
I just really enjoy that cardio aspect of just being strong to hike a mountain or water ski, snow ski. I felt like that part. And I didn't lose a ton of strength. Even now I'm back into CrossFit classes and I can still hang with everybody else. So if anything, the cardio is just kind of helped me keep up with them.
I mean,
give it a shot and see what you think.
I do think for us, like, so we all play in the mountains in some aspect or another. And I think that, so the strength is still so important for like retaining range of motion, function, strength, joint integrity. But the conditioning aspect and what Hyrox brings, I think, is very appropriate for skiing, hiking, hunting, like all that stuff. I think it's actually, this is what I trained like this last summer in preparation for hunting season. Like I did a lot of Hyrox type stuff, and it worked quite well.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, besides kind of some lower back issues, that's why I kind of started at your gym in the first place, was because I do a lot of backcountry snowmobiling, and cardio into things, believe it or not, can be pretty demanding when you're riding hard at 6,000 to 8,000 feet, and that plays a big role in how you enjoy your day and how can you recover, and can you go riding the next day. If you go on a trip, are you gonna go balls out one day and then the next 2 days you're sore and miserable? So it is a big deal, especially the cardio side of it.
Yeah, you're right. The resilience of it, for hunting for me too. It's like, you can put a big day, or you pack out half an elk, and you got to do it again tomorrow. So you better be able to recover and play the game again, or you're gonna have a tough life.
Yeah.
All right. Well, by the time this comes out, we'll have our first couple classes that are framed up in the Hyrox way here at the gym. So,
are you planning on doing a Hyrox simulation or an event this summer?
It's on my calendar for July 11th. Yep.
Cool.
So we'll see. It might just be you guys. Like, I'll join you if it's just the three of us. That'll be cool. But yeah, my vision for that.
Split the movements in three.
Yeah. No, we're gonna triple. We're gonna triple skier. I get to be the big spoon though. No, that's on the calendar for July 11th. I'm glad you asked me that. Thanks. I should have had a script. But I'd like to do it like they did. I'm planning on getting another skier by then, so we'll be able to do heats of 3 with 5 to 10 minute separation between, and then start somewhere in the early side of the morning and be there till noon or 1, and then everyone can go back out on the lake. But I think it'll be a fun thing for people to do.
For sure.
Cool. So there we go. That's why we started this week, is it'll be 12 weeks until then. So we'll start some of the Hyrox type stuff at the gym this week, and 11 weeks from this week, then we'll be doing what I just talked about. So, and it'll get you ready for Murph. So it'll be even better.
Oh, great.
All right, guys. Thanks for doing this.
Cool.
And see you hybrid rock stars later. Sorry. I had to
Thanks,
throw it in there again. All right. See ya.
See ya.
All right. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed that, if you're intrigued by the idea of a Hyrox event, or just the idea of, longer functional fitness type of test. Good news. We are doing our Thursdays. Currently, this is what the setup is. At our gym, same with strength and conditioning, Thursdays will be based around Hyrox. It'll be longer workouts that will contain things that would be found in a Hyrox event. That is the same for our Saturday morning at 8 a.m. class, formerly known as Hustle. Same idea as that class was founded on. Those are the two opportunities you have to train like that. If you don't care about Hyrox, great. It still doesn't matter because those days have always been for us, at least as in the recent history, those Thursday classes and those Saturday morning classes have been our long conditioning days anyways. So even if you think Hyrox is the dumbest thing that's ever come out, that's fine. You won't even notice a difference on Thursdays because those will just, again, be our longer condition days, which, as we talked about in the podcast, is very vital and important to you, your heart health, your capacity and ability to do things in the mountains, in the woods, and in your life. So that's that. If you have questions or need to get started here at the gym, want to start doing those types of classes, I can be found, Kenny at standpointstrength.com. All right, toodle-oo.